Now we're going to move on to the greens. We're going to talk about putters that ranked highly in the GolfWRX Members Choice Voting for this year in 2025. And Brian, I think we're going to split it up into blades and mallets. I know you guys for the voting are offered them kind of separate categories, which is probably fair given the differences in the construction and the build and the performance of each one. So we'll start with the blade putters. And again, some brands in here that we're used to seeing, and maybe a couple newcomers as well. Obviously, we'll talk about Lab a little bit as well in both categories. They've been continuing to increase their footprint in the game. But with the blade putters, Scotty Cameron Studio Style Newport 2 is the number 1 putter. Then we've got the Lab Link and the number 2 spot, followed by the Scotty Cameron Studio Style Newport, and then the Ping PLD Answer and the Ping PLD Answer 2D round out the top 5 there. So a couple of brands that we've certainly are used to seeing in this top 5 for years and years. And then Lab, of course, sneaks in there now with the popularity that they have. What are your takeaways from this top 5 here?
Well, I love how you go, with number 1 being Scotty Cameron, the Newport 2, and then, you have Newport at 3. But then when you go to Ping, you have the Answer over the Answer 2.
Right.
Very interesting.
Yeah, that is fascinating.
The Scotty fans love the little boxier, look to it, and I guess the Ping fans like the little more rounded, softer look.
Yeah,
so
I do wonder, too, if that's just the notoriety and the popularity, of course, with attached to Tiger's name with a Newport 2 that not necessarily the Answer has versus, with Newport. I don't know. Maybe that's part of it. But nonetheless, that is a fascinating find there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you probably have a point. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Tiger had a Newport 2, and, I think for a long time, everybody was a Newport or Answer guy. They liked that little more rounded shape, little softer shape to it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when you look at Scotty, I mean, the studio styles, those Newports, they were really great putters. They felt great. And, I know Scotty has kind of that love-hate. You either really love what he does or people, don't. But I think either side, if you putt with one of those putters, either studio style, they were great feeling. They were soft. They were responsive. They had just enough kind of audible click to them that you liked the sound. I mean, everything about them. And I'm going to be honest, Scotty does the little details right. I love when you go on Instagram or social and you see some of these like boutique putter brands, like, guys that are, machinists that start making their own putters and they do these great putters. But there's always little details that I always go, man, if this could just be different. Scotty, I've never looked at one of his blade putters and said, man, if he could just change the sole, they always look so perfect. And I think over the years, he has just refined that blade shape, those shapes to just, I mean, they're just kind of perfect. And he's done a great job. And there's little changes here and there, every series. But, those studio styles were so good and they felt great. And from a blade where you're not getting a lot of tech like a mallet, you're not getting tons of, high MOI designs and all that. Now we're seeing a little bit with the bigger, boxier blades like the 2D, Answer 2D, but you're not getting that. You're really looking for a certain look, a certain feel, and a certain responsiveness out of that putter, and that's what you're kind of looking for. And I think both of those, deliver that really, really well. And I'll say the same thing for the PLD. Ping with the PLD Answer and Answer 2D. I had an Answer 2D for a while. I really like it. I'm into kind of the wider, boxier blade at the moment, just a look I like. And the PLD series is really good feeling, a little deeper mill, so it's soft. But again, Ping does a great job with their milled putters. I don't think they get enough credit for them. I think people look at, some of their older stuff and some of their cast stuff is kind of the go-to because it's a great value. But I think when you look at their high-end kind of PLD stuff, it's really underrated for the quality that they do in there. And again, the look, the shape, they've been doing it for so long that they kind of perfected it. And their shape, it looks really, really good. And there's nothing really out of place with it. Now, again, you mentioned it, Lab. I kind of knew Lab. I kind of figured we're going to see some Lab, votes in the mallet section. I was actually really surprised to see the link on this list. And only because, not that it's not a good putter, it's just nobody really talks about it. Everybody talks about DF3 and Mez and the new Oz. And, they talk about all the mallets so much. And there's so much buzz and hype around trying those and doing that you just don't hear many people talk about the Link. And, the Link's a great option. If you're don't love the look of a blade, but you still want that, lie angle balance technology, the Link is a great option. It's just not talked about as much. So it's interesting to see that even though people aren't necessarily chatting about it or being vocal or out there about it, there's still a lot of people out there who really love the putter and have found success with it, and they've benefit into it, and it's worked out because it wouldn't be number 2 on the list if it wasn't. So I would say in this one you got 4 putters that you kind of expect, and then a putter that I kind of didn't expect to be on the list at all, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess I am a little surprised when you put it that way about the Link getting into the top 5 here for the blades, but because it does seem like while Lab has certainly kind of taken over a large segment of the mallet putter category, right? And we'll get to that here in a second, but it doesn't seem like they've had that same impact when it comes to blades. But nonetheless, clearly the members at GolfWRX think that Link is still a very effective if you're someone who likes the kind of blade look. So